Oh my gosh. I just got a notification that something's happening with Facebook. So I don't know what's going on. I hope we're still live. I don't know. But welcome to the show. If you're here, let me know you're here. If you're watching from Facebook, let us know because I just got a notification right when we went live that Facebook is having some issues. So welcome. It's a special day, special time for a very special group of women who are amazing, just like you. And don't forget it. But we are here to talk about the divine legacy. I'm a co-author in this book, and I am so grateful. But we have Marsh Engle here today, and we're on a fast track to get everybody in so they can talk. So I'm going to turn it over to Marsh to let you know, what is this book about?
Oh, what is this book about? Well, it's about amazing women recognizing and remembering that they're amazing women. That's it.
And that's a revelation to so many when it finally hits you that you are amazing.
We've
So
been
many
so
times we don't
conditioned to
value.
look at everything that we're not, or to get into patterns of comparison or some kind of self-doubt, that this book, Divine Legacy, is really about igniting what I consider to be a new era of feminine prosperity. And that would mean recognizing our worth, recognizing our value, recognizing our giftedness, and finding ways to bring that to life so that we can all share upon your great contribution that you're making in the world. And, you know, when I first started Amazing Women's Day, Debbie, back in 2001 was our very first live event that we did.
Mm-hmm.
And I had so many women that were so, I think, I'm going to use the word intimidated, but I think it was more concerned or had such a level of self-doubt. Could they call themselves an amazing woman? Could they own that I'm an amazing woman? And I made it my initiative that every woman could recognize that within herself, the amazingness within her. And we do it by way of recognizing the power of our feminine prosperity, our feminine giftedness, our feminine value, our feminine worth, and celebrate that through our contributions in the world. So it's been an amazing journey. We have 18 incredible authors, including Debbie.
Yeah.
And the 18 authors, of the 18, there's 8 that wrote primary chapters. 10 did amazing contributions that are called Divine Insights. And so the book is loaded with not only stories of their journey of moving from maybe being a little uncomfortable saying amazing or recognizing their feminine prosperity to really owning their worth in the world. And how did they do that? So I wanted the book to be more than just stories. I mean, stories are incredible. They can be wildly inspiring, but I also wanted the book to be filled with, we could say how-tos, guidance, practical skills, practical practices that they could do that would really bring forth the amazing within them and how they could live their divine legacy and their feminine prosperity.
I love that. And I want you to also mention, is this your 9th book?
It's my 9th book.
It's
We
number
started
9.
we started in 2001 with the first series, and I wrote those books exclusively myself. The first few books were me interviewing, and then I wrote the stories of the amazing women that I interviewed. And that included the female firefighters of New York City right after 9/11. You know, the first 25 women out of a 114-year history. So there's some real trailblazing stories, those initial books were. And then I understood the power of working with women to truly embrace their own story and not have me write it, but inspire them to write it themselves. And there's a big difference, Debbie, between being interviewed and somebody else writing your story and you sitting and putting pen to paper and bringing forth your truth, your power, your inspiration. And I think recognizing the value that sometimes we've overlooked and maybe we've infused with self-doubt or shadowed in some way. And this was an amazing opportunity. So I shifted the books into being books that were collaborative books that took on one topic of some kind. So we did leadership, we've done emerging, we've done all different topics along the way. But when it came to this one, this was the most important one. This is the 9th one. And this is about us really owning the power that we bring forth in the world, and not just owning it, but leading a new era, leading a new way of being in the world, so that we can link arms, shift the way we've maybe taken action in the past, find collaboration, and find joy in working together by sharing our greatest gifts.
Well, you know what I thought of was a new era. We'll tell Taylor Swift her new era should be feminine prosperity, because
That's
she's
right.
all
I
her
hear
eras.
you. That's right.
So I
Let's get
think
her on the
Taylor
phone.
Swift, of course, she's
Let's
watching the
get her
show,
on the
right?
phone.
Yeah, the new era should be feminine prosperity. But also, nothing could be finer than book number 9er. Okay. So with that, unless you have something else you'd like to say, we are going to let Marsh stay on a little bit after to answer any questions that someone has. But I think right now the best thing to do is, Lynn, could you bring up our other amazing women? Hi. Here they all are. Oh my gosh. I am moved beyond belief. I know. Let's all hold them up. Yay! Oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled that you all could be here tonight. And this is our first group. To those who are on, it does look like we have an issue with Facebook on my side, but we're moving forward. I can always show this at a later time. So I have you all up here. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you, Marsh, for bringing us all together. And I get to meet most of you in LA very soon. So I can't wait to like hug each of you and just feel that empowerment oozing out of you. I love it. But while I have you up here, one of the questions that I would like everyone to take turns just explaining to me and to our crowd, what does feminine prosperity, just in a few words, because we're tough on time here. What if you were to describe feminine prosperity? What does that mean to you, Donata?
For me, it's interesting because when I looked at the questions, I said, how can I answer that in one word? So the word that came to me is receivership. Receiving.
Yes. And we'll expand on that here in a minute because I think we'll have time. Connie, what does feminine prosperity mean to you in a few words?
I think it means devotion to yourself. You know, as women, we give ourselves out to everyone around us, but it's really turning it back on ourselves and being devoted and loving and caring and worthy of ourselves.
Ooh, that's awesome. Thank you. Sandra, what does feminine prosperity mean to you?
To me, it's about integrity, you know, to be true to ourselves, to own our magnificent being that we are, and really be living wholehearted, you know, all in, really loving entirely fully ourselves and really living and entirely fully embodying our divine legacy.
Yes. Yes. Amen to that, Sandra. Okay, Stephanie, feminine prosperity. What does that mean to you?
So for me, this meant anchoring myself in worthiness and in value and in confidence, and understanding that, you know, as Marsh says, we're all amazing. Mm-hmm. We're amazing women, and we need to anchor ourselves in that.
Very good, Stephanie. Thank you. And last but not least, Becky, feminine prosperity. What does that mean to you?
For me, it means joy. It means living a joyful life, living fully, just really letting the light shine.
Let that light shine. That is so true. Thank you so much, Becky. I just want to go back to Donata for a second, because the one word, she just gave us the one word, but I know you have more to say about receiving. And I felt that really, really, even though you said one word, I felt that. Receiving is, what do you mean by that?
So I think I'm going to kind of link to what Connie said, devotion to ourselves. So if we look at the feminine, okay, I'm going to be, I'm going to be unapologetically bold about this. So receivership, right? If we think of the feminine, we receive, right? We're the channel of creation, and the channel of creation, we're in the receiver mode. We think we're the givers, but we're actually, the feminine is actually the receiver of it. And when I came to, I've been in Marsh's world for a long time. And when she initiated me into understanding that, I said, okay, that doesn't make sense to me. But when I thought of the actual act of, the feminine and masculine polarity, the feminine receives. It really is about receptivity, allowing in. And I think we've closed ourselves up with the conditioning, right, of giving our, unlimited of giving of ourselves.
Mm.
And this is many times why we're operating burnt out and depleted, because we're overgiving, overcompensating, and their circulation is not in flow because they're overgiving and not allowing in. Well, there's no harmony there. There's no I don't like to use the word balance, but harmony of where we allow in. So that's what receivership means to me. So it's allowing in all our everything that is there, ready for us, already there.
I love that, Donata, because I think a lot of us as women have gotten more into our masculine, and it's difficult for me to receive sometimes, and I'm trying to shift that. But Marsh, after you hear all of these amazing women who you have brought together, what do you tell us about what's your main thing about feminine prosperity that you can shine on
I
us?
think I have something that was as I heard everyone speaking, I went straight back to the book. And in the book, there is a question that is a bit confronting. When I wrote it, when the question came to me and I thought, this must go into the book, but it was a bit confronting, but it really speaks to everything everyone said. And that question is, am I willing to love myself enough to be truthful and honest, to truly reach the depths of my heart, to feel and realize how very gifted I am, how very powerful I am, and how equipped I truly am? So often, Debbie, we look to, am I willing to be honest about how I'm blocking myself, or how I need to fix things, or how I need to be different? I believe that, and to speak to Donna, receivership, or to any one of the amazing women that just spoke, we're really talking about looking inward and acknowledging, remembering the parts of ourselves that we've forgotten.
Oh.
It's so easy to forget because we live in a world that's taught us to forget, and taught us that if we are, what is the people say, a little extra right now, or we're too much, or we're over the top, or whatever they're calling it. And it's all a mistruth. Like, we could even go as far as say that those are lies that we've accepted about ourselves. So the question is, am I willing to truly, truly be honest about how gifted I am, about where my genius lies? What is the expression that wishes to come through me? What words wish to be spoken through me? How can I begin to align with that with such a level of freedom that I do not pause? I do not allow myself to pause. I'm just going to tell a very quick question. I know we're on a clock's ticking, but I was at the chapel in Sedona. I'm living in Sedona right now, and I was recording a video that I wanted to post into social media. And a young woman was sitting next to me, and she said, "Oh my gosh, are you an author?" And I said, "I am." And she said, "I don't know what book you've written, but I wish to buy it right now, because what you're speaking about is exactly what I feel that I'm needing in this moment." And I thought, what a beautiful synchronicity, we could call it. Or we could also say that this is what so many of us, beginning with myself and every single author here, this is what we're really looking for. How can we connect more fully with the truth and the power of who we are, naturally and innately?
Oh, we need one another to cheer for one another and shine that light on one another when we are down, because it happens to everyone. But somehow everything that you said, it's so true. Nilu, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry. My laptop wasn't working, so finally I got on my phone.
It's okay. We have a lot of technical stuff happening on my side too. I get it, but I don't want to leave you out. So the question is, Nilu, and when you think about feminine prosperity, what comes to your mind?
That's a really good question. For me personally, I think of abundance.
Okay.
when I think of divine feminine prosperity, it is the material wealth, it's the emotional connection that we have in ourselves, the well-being that we have, it's the relationships that we have with one another, and the prosperity comes in also spiritual fulfillment. So I believe that all these areas that we work on, we can tap into that abundance. And that divine feminine prosperity to me is a collection of all those.
That's beautiful, Nilu. Thank you for that. And I will say mine. I think for me, I really gave this a lot of thought too, because I thought there's so much. How do I narrow it down? And I think, when we think of prosperity, the first thing that everyone thinks of typically is financial wealth. But for me, more than anything, it's probably the wealth of worth.
Oh, I love that.
And so now I want to go ahead and start over with the panel and ask another question. And so, in a few words, if you could share with me and the audience, what does your work, not just your work and what you do, but what do you stand for? Donata.
Inner leadership, inner leadership and wealth creation. So being able to lead ourselves, and wealth creation for me is first and foremost a foundation of well-being. So self-care, self-love, and obviously wealth creation also in terms of prosperity. That does look like money, because I do think that we need more money in the hands of women. Our communities need it, and money in the hands of women takes care of a whole community. Because a woman doesn't operate from greed, a woman operates from her heart. So I want to ignite that we're allowing ourselves to receive that, and I know that we're going to impact the next 7 generations.
I love that, Donata, too, that you brought in the receiving part of that's what you stand for, open to receive, and even the wealth of all that you do. So Connie, how are you?
I'm
Connie
good.
with an I. Connie with an I. What's a few words that symbolizes what your work stands for?
So I want to make us all warriors, because too much of the time we're warriors as women. We worry about everybody else. We worry about, and so it's time for you to start to be a warrior in your life, for your body, for your health, for your wellness, for your mindset, everything. If you have the mindset of a warrior, all of a sudden you look at things differently. If you think of yourself as an athlete, you're going to take care of yourself differently. And so I work with women on taking care of their bodies, especially if they've been in chronic pain. So to think of ourselves as a warrior makes a big difference in the life.
Woo! I'm fired up. Connie.
I just want to know where she got the t-shirt.
Oh, man.
That's why I wore my jacket.
What if we all had those made and all wore them to the conference? Okay, Sandra, what about you? What are a few words that symbolize what you stand for?
I think the first thing is about courage. I think that, having the courage, to step into our courageous self, to be able to be willing to see ourselves, to believe in ourselves, to choose ourselves, to stand, by ourselves, and to show up with all our authenticity, to what we stand for, even though we stand alone, standing by ourselves. We need to stand by ourselves. So we need to be present as well to ourselves in our highest awareness and loving acceptance, really, of all that we are.
Oh, awesome, Sandra.
Beautiful.
I love that. Courage. We've got warrior and courage right next to each other. Okay, Stephanie, in a few words, what symbolizes you and your work?
I'd say my work is really rooted first and foremost in curiosity, and that applies both to my work and to those I work with. Who are you? What gifts do you have? How can we share those with the world? How can we make them bigger? Growth is really important. I think, always growing every day. I want to make sure that I've learned something every day. And then the last thing around the work is really that we end up being soul satisfied. that, what our soul longs to bring to the world, that we're able to do that and do it in a way that we know we're leaving legacy behind us.
That's awesome. Do me a favor, everyone who is not speaking, see the mute button at the bottom, click it. So that way there's no background noise when each person's talking. Because don't click off yet, Becky, because Becky Norwood is next. So Becky, what symbolizes you and your work?
I think the best way to describe it is authentic legacy. And by that I mean that when we can stand up and shine a light to show others the way, especially our other women, that we're paving the way for our future generations to really walk into a different path that we did. Started much further ahead than we did, because they've been able to live to grow by our example. And that's what I mean by leaving an authentic legacy.
I feel that from you. I don't know what it is, but I believe you when you want to shine the light for other people. I feel that from you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. Nilu, you can unmute yourself and you can please tell us what words symbolize you and your work.
Well, I have a few words, but I'll stick to the one. I would say authenticity, integrity, healing, and grace. And I think for me, authenticity and integrity go hand in hand. To be able to speak my truth has been a huge part of my self-realization, getting to know myself, who am I, and who is underneath all these various identities that have been put on myself over the years and decades. And so to be able to be authentic to myself and to know that I am perfectly imperfect in this human. I also am perfectly divine when it comes to the alignment to divine intervention and the wisdom of the womb.
Oh my gosh, Nilu, this is going to be so cute when you watch this back because you didn't miss a beat. You didn't miss a beat. You keep being your authentic self. That's perfectly imperfect, whatever. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Perfectly imperfect.
Perfectly imperfect. That's what we all can say with authority for sure. Thank you so much, Nilu. Okay, so let's all make sure we're muted, and I'm going to go to Marsh. And Marsh, tell me your words. What are your words to describe?
I have a book full right here of words, but I will tell you that I grabbed a quote that's a meaningful quote straight from the pages of the book that I'm going to bring. When a woman opens the radiance of her heart, all doubt drops away, and what remains is the wealth of her divine legacy. And I'd like to just for a second explain or just bring some clarity or some context into what divine legacy is. Divine legacy is your worth. It is your inner wealth. It is your strength. It is your courage. It is your authenticity. And when you bring all of those aspects and even more, what every woman spoke on this session today, all of that and more, and you live it, you bring it into what you walk out into the world, you embody it, you teach it, you speak it. That's your divine legacy. So your divine legacy isn't something necessarily that we're leaving behind. Yes, it can be, but a divine legacy is something that you can live every single moment in the way you're being in the world.
And we do want to leave a legacy behind that we can be proud of and that inspires and empowers. And I love that. And for me, I feel like my divine legacy, I would hope to be love and faith and to know your worth. Yes. I hope that my life helps inspire other people to know what they're worth and to also not just have faith in God, of course, but also have faith in self.
It's beautiful.
So now the last question for all of us. Okay. So we're doing really well, you guys. We have 3 more minutes. Okay. So let's get it in and done. But the show is called Find It. And so I always ask this question, so what have you found in life in a few words that you would like to leave with women or anyone watching the show? What have you found in life that you can share to help us find it too? Donata.
Oh, are you muted?
I muted her, and now she's like, what? I forgot to unmute. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Never
here
mind.
you go. So you and I matter, and life is now.
Woo! All right, girl. I love that, Donata. Oh, I'm going to make that a clip. Connie's unmuted. Good to go.
Joy, abundance, vibrancy, aliveness.
I love it, Connie. Thank you. Wow, she's on it. Sandra, unmute and tell us what you have found in life that you can share with us.
Oh my God, I found that when we have the courage to be vulnerable, it is the source of our power, the power to connect with ourselves, to be seen, to see ourselves, but also the power to connect with others, to support and to inspire and to really be in our heart, to embrace fully who we are, because I really feel that this power of embracing is actually the superpower of self-love, and life is the R&D love lab. That's what I really
Oh, that's good. I love that, Sandra. Thank you. Stephanie, what have you found in life you can share with our audience to help them find it too?
I think the most important thing is to remember that we're all just a drop in the water, and that we affect rings and rings and rings of people as we go through our journey, and to never to hesitate to reach out and share that, because it's so important that we learn and connect with as many people as we can while we're here and create value together.
Oh, thank you. Okay, we only have a few more seconds. Becky, give it to us as fast as you can.
Stand in your truth, love yourself, and let your soul shine.
Woo! Nilu, unmute and tell us what you got. We got 15 seconds.
I got grace in the divine, in the higher power, finding that truth within where divine can come in and remind us that there's so much to be grateful for.
Oh, and can I get an amen? We're dropping you down. Exit the backstage immediately when you go down, and we're going to be bringing our next group up. So stay tuned, folks who are able to watch the show this evening, because the next panel are going to be up in just a few minutes. So it'll just be Marsh and I to chat until they get in the backstage, and they will be up next. But in the meantime, how well did we do, Marsh?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, it's
Oh
right.
my gosh. In 30 minutes, I don't know how many wisdom teachers we had, but there was so much
Oh my
richness in that
gosh. And they were
conversation.
like in there, and they made their point,
So
and
good. So
that
good.
was so good.
I'm
It was
inspired. I
lovely.
feel like I always say, let's just get up and do something, jump up and do something great in the world. That's what I feel like right now from
Oh,
that
I love it.
inspiration.
I love it. I don't know what's going on. My Facebook did not connect. So I don't have any of my Facebook viewers on. So hopefully they're going to try to go over to the next platform. But we do have everybody, and we have more authors coming on, another great group. So stay tuned. But Marsh, I think for me, this book was cathartic. I mean, I thought I had really gone through a lot of transformations, and that I was really owning who I was, until I started the process of working with you, and you were asking the right questions that made me realize I wasn't completely where I needed to be. And it's such a blessing. You are too. You guys, I haven't even met you in person yet, but I don't know if you guys can feel it or not, but the energy that Marsh puts off, I feel it even through the screen. And when I talk to her on the phone, and the things that she says and what I've read, and I also read part of another book because you were on my podcast before. So, but anyway, I don't know. We'll go ahead and start putting who's here up on the screen. And if others come along the way, we'll pop them up too. Hello, Gina. Hello, Carol. So we just have Gina and Carol. Oh, we'll be able to be chatty. We'll really be able to be
We're missing
chatty.
some people, a few people. Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Do you know
Maybe
what was
we'll be
coming
able
to mind, Debbie? When we were talking to the last group, and obviously as we step in here, is that one of the things that I know is that the biggest shift that we're making as amazing women is we're no longer willing to write ourselves out of our own divine legacy. We're no longer willing to deny our own divinity, or our own sense of beingness, or our own gifts and talents, or our own just every aspect of our heart's desire. We're no longer willing to deny any of that. Where in the past, we might have put a little bit of a shade on that. We might have kind of dimmed the light on that. And we're no longer willing to write ourselves out of our own divine legacy now. And that, to me, in writing the book, that was the biggest thing that every single author got, as well as myself. No longer hiding behind any kind of excuse or any kind of denial. Let's just go for it. It's our life. It's our legacy.
Go for it. Let's go for it. And look who made it. Diane is in the house. Hello, hello. Oh gosh, we're okay. More showing up. Hello, Melissa.
Hello.
Okay, well, let's get after it now. We had our first group. Now we're on to our second group of authors for this amazing book. You all want to hold it up. If you have your copy, we'll just do this. And then later I may be able to do a little photo shoot of us. So beautiful cover. It's just looking at it makes you feel like it's just divine is what it is. It surely is. Hello, Lynn. So it looks like we have the whole team here, right? Oh, and there's Cece. Hi, Cece. Okay. So, oh my gosh, I love it that you all are here and that, hi. So, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. This group didn't get to come first, so we didn't get a chat before the show. So here we are, and I'm so delighted and excited that you are here and grateful. I mean, really, the gratitude level, it's off the charts. So thank you. And we have limited time, so we're going to ask these questions, and I'm going to go around and call on you to give us a little answer if we have any time at the end. So if you want, go ahead and keep yourself muted until I ask you to answer. That way we don't have any background noise for the person who's talking. So welcome. So the book is called Divine Legacy. It's a new era. I said we need to have Taylor Swift get a hold of this. This can be her new era, feminine prosperity. But while we're talking about that, I've already asked the first group this question. And so Gina, unmute and tell me and our audience, what exactly to you, in a few words, when you think of feminine prosperity, what does that mean to you? Okay, you're going to have to unmute, Gina. At the bottom, you'll see like the little Gina. At the very bottom, I'm going to ask someone out. Gina, at the very bottom, you'll see the mute, and you got to click on that. It's not unmuting for her. So let me jump over to Melissa real fast. And Gina, I'll come back to you. Melissa, when you think of feminine prosperity, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I think the word for me is expansive and fulfilling and easeful.
Wow. We haven't even had that. Like everyone has said something different. I find that amazing too. Thank you, Melissa. That's beautiful. Diane. Hi, honey. When you think of feminine prosperity, what words come to mind to describe that for you?
Perception, awareness, and choice.
Nice.
Ooh. And if we have time, we'll go back and you guys can expand on that. Gina, I want to go back to you. Are you able to unmute? I can't. She can't unmute. I wish I could help you.
I had to go to the top.
You had to go to the top for a mute button?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like
I'm going to you keep looking on your dashboard and see if you can find a mute button. And Carol, I'm going to go ahead and move on over to you. Carol, feminine prosperity, what does that mean to you?
Power and intuition.
Oh, gosh, I love it. We're still on a roll with no second answers. That's awesome. I love it. Thank you, Carol. I'm going to go to Lynn. Hi, Lynn. When you think of feminine prosperity, what comes to mind?
In one word, it's called trust.
Oh, trust.
Powerful.
That is powerful. Okay, I'm going to come on down to Cece. Hi, Cece. When you think of feminine prosperity,
can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're really well.
Transformation, creativity within the heart.
Wow, that got me. Thank you. We'll come back to that, I hope. Thank you, Cece. Emily, how are you, honey? I am so excited to see your face, and I would love for you to give us, when you think of feminine prosperity, what comes to your mind?
What comes to mind is force multiplier.
Oh.
We as a collective are an incredible movement. And to me, that is where a phenomenal amount of power and empowering is. So that's
Power in numbers, Emily.
Power in numbers and power in ourselves.
There you go. We got to believe in ourselves, and that way we can lift others up. That's awesome. Gina.
You can hear me?
You sound great.
Okay.
What do you think of for you and your heart and soul when you think of feminine prosperity? How do you describe that?
Yeah, I thought about it a lot, and you know, when you would go to the typical things that would typically come up with prosperity, it wasn't connecting with my soul, and what I kept coming back to was divinity. I feel like when a woman finds her prosperity, she does find her divinity. You know, it's the quality of being divine, which could be the goddessness within her. It could be being whole, mind, body, spirit, sacredness, grace, just all of those encompassing feelings is really divinity is her prosperity.
I love
Beautiful.
that. That's very
Debbie,
beautiful.
let me jump in here really
love
quick
it.
because Cece may have cut out when she was speaking. It froze for me. So I'm wondering, could we hear from her again? Do we have time?
Yes, Cece. Give it to us, Cece. What do you have to say about feminine prosperity?
Okay. Transformation of creativity within your heart.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So powerful. I knew I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And you are coming in very clear, Cece. You sound really, really great. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go to the next question, but I'm loving all of your answers for this. I hope we have time to come back so you can maybe give me just a little bit more. But, you know, we all have our own work. We all have who we are. Our work doesn't define us, but it is how we're putting ourselves out there in the world. So it's important, I think, that our listeners maybe hear, what do you stand for? What does your work stand for? In a few words, can you give us, who are you? What do you stand for? Carol?
Empowering women to create their own masterpiece.
Ooh,
wow.
I love that, Carol.
Wow. Gave me chills.
Boom. Mic drop. Lynn, the same question. What in a few words, and unmute, what in a few words describe what you stand for?
Well, I have my own question, and it's, what if you are awesome?
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, don't you love those when it says, what if you fail? What if I do? Well, what if you don't? What if you are awesome?
Yeah.
Thank you, man. That's amazing. Melissa, you are next. What symbolizes you and your work?
The word I keep circling around is integrity and self-intimacy. And yeah. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Thank you. Diane, what about you?
Mine, I'm a bridge between the divine and the earthly, but also a bridge in ourselves, from our heart to our mind. So I always think of myself as a bridge. I'm a conduit, right?
Mm-hmm. I like that. You're the first person I've ever had on a podcast that described themselves as a bridge. That's awesome, Diane. Emily, you're up next. Give us some words that symbolize who you are and what you represent with your work.
What I represent with my work is the service to women in recognizing their inner beauty and allowing it to come forward in a way that they recognize their divine magnificence and embracing it and showing it out into the world. We often diminish ourselves, and we need to allow ourselves who we are as the magnificent beings that we are.
Oh, Emily,
Yes.
I love that. Thank you,
Yes.
Emily. Yes.
Welcome.
So Gina, same question.
Yeah, for me, the words that always come to my mind are to always be a surviving life challenges, life traumas, negative emotional impacts we've experienced, and healing. Doing the work, being accountable for how we're being and reacting to our lives and in the world. And next is believing in ourselves, believing in our inner magic and powers that we all have, that get quieted over the years, that if we think back to our childhoods, weren't we all just magical? Couldn't we just fly when we wanted to? We had wings, And then lastly, loving ourselves, loving, the gift of love is so huge that once we do finally love ourselves, it's impossible not to love everything out there. And this life is a gift, and it should be a wonderful, loving experience.
Thank you for that.
Beautiful.
That was
beautifully spoken.
Once you truly love yourself, it's impossible not to love others. Wow. I love that. Thank you, Gina. I'm so glad you found that mute button because I really like to hear from you. Okay, Cece, what words represent or symbolize who you are in your work? Just you.
Awakening to your core values and being on that path. It's about embodying your creativity, and this is your self-expression. This is your life, and to honor that.
Gosh,
well spoken.
It is. And you guys all are saying very similar, paralleling things, but it hits differently, doesn't it? From each viewpoint of all of you. And that's together how empowering we all can be. Marsh, I'd love to hear your take on, these women. You've read their works for a year. We've all come together now. Here we are, and we're going to meet in person soon. What are you feeling right now, Marsh, being here with all of us?
Oh, in a few short words. What moves me the most is that there is a living reflection of how our individual strengths, our own uniqueness, speaking it from our soul, the voice of a woman's soul is the most important, the most foundational piece of her prosperity. And each and every one of these women, actually for both groups, spoke individually, uniquely themselves. But at the end, we all came to a common goal.
Yes.
So in the book, I think that's what was so important in the book, is that each woman held the integrity of her own voice. Yet when it collectively came together, we were all speaking the same message. That's a full, loving acceptance of our own feminine prosperity, a living of our own divine legacy. But we're doing it in our own unique individual way. And that to me is what was so very moving for me in working with each of the authors and knowing them as I do, and encouraging them. There's no comparison. There's no right way to say it. There's no wrong way to say it. What it is what you're feeling to communicate, what you're feeling to say. And by staying true to that, we are living our feminine prosperity.
I love this. And I just all of a sudden thought, how does Marsh feel right now? Bringing all of us together. She has the 9th amazing woman book that's a bestseller. I have to get that in there. In 3 categories.
Yes, this is our 4th book in a row that's been bestseller.
Woo! So
I will tell you though, Debbie, I was wildly emotional on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Very teary. Yeah. It was as though, when you've been working with something, or you're actually any of us that are mothers and we've been pregnant for 9 months and all at once you've given birth and now you have this new baby in the world, which happens to be called divine legacy. I don't want to hold my baby upside down. But I just felt like a culmination of all kinds of emotion.
I bet.
A lot of it was based in just the sheer resiliency that it took for us to stay true to the message. Yeah. And I will also say that many of the authors rewrote multiple times, which said to me how important it was that they write what they were truly feeling and experiencing for the reader.
I love that. I do. Probably, I was thinking she must feel like a mother giving birth. I was honestly thinking like, this is her baby and we're all her little.
I don't know that I've ever felt it as much as I did with this particular book. This was a deep, meaningful, insightful, transformative, evolving book to write. And every single one of us felt that. There was not one woman that I worked with, and beginning with myself, there was not one woman that did not feel like she was a different woman at the end of the writing than she was at the beginning of the writing. There's something transformative that takes place in reflecting on what your soul really wishes to communicate through you. And that's what they did. They stayed true to that.
Oh, I almost felt like after I was done writing my piece, I wanted like cheat sheets to see what everyone else's was talking about so I could read and learn who these women were before I met these women. But I'm in the middle of reading the book now, and it's just like, wow, you guys.
They're gorgeous women, gorgeous, powerful, insightful women.
It is inspiring and powerful. And I love that in the book, there is like, it's like a little workshop at the end. So everybody can get the experience if you really are open to receiving it, right? Mm-hmm. Open to receiving it and finding who you really are. It's awesome. I can attest to that. So I want to go ahead and do my last question. If we have time at the end, I want you guys to, if there's something you'd like to add, I would love to hear it. So since the show's called Find It, we talk about what we have found in life that we can share with others. And so I'm going to start with you, Carol. So in a few words, what have you found in life that you can share with us to inspire us to find it too?
I had something prepared, but this is the main thing that's gone on, and it's not a unique idea, but you are not alone. Just always want to encourage people that you are not alone.
I love, Carol, that you just said that and you spoke from the heart instead of thinking about what you had prepared. That's beautiful. Thank you for just giving it like that. Len, what have you found in life you'd love to share with this audience?
Be yourself unapologetically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Melissa, what have you found?
I think just this return to self is the greatest investment available.
Mm-hmm. Return to self. And some of us are still trying to figure out who that self is, right?
Yeah, but just that action of always.
I love it, Melissa. That's powerful. It really is. Diane, what have you found in life you can share?
Probably the biggest thing is perception is everything. And especially perception of myself. It didn't need to be true or based on what's outside. And just to learn to see it how you want it to be instead of your perception of what it is, right? Mm-hmm. See it the way you want it to be.
Shift your perception to be happier, to be content, to be all the things, right? That's great. Yeah, you're right. Perception is reality. That's so good. Thank you, Diane. Emily, what do you say about what you have found that you can share with us?
Well, like Carol, I'm not going to go with what I prepared. What I have found is that truly kindness and loving compassion are the most profound, unbelievable, actionable things that we can do with ourselves, with our attitudes. And when we express that to other people, it just creates an amazingly awake environment and kindness, loving kindness.
And that's, people sometimes say, oh, we hear about kindness. No, it's real. Like it's a real thing. We forget and we hear the word kindness. And I think we get away from it and think, well, what you just said is kindness and the compassion that you show for other people. I love that, Emily. Yeah. Gina, what have you found that you can share with us?
I feel like my message is that, it's all within you. It's all within us. It's all the answers, the love, the compassion, the healing, the magic that we all have. And it's just all within us, and that we all just need to go within first, Find that place, find that love, find that compassion for yourself, find all that you need. And then when you're in the world, that's all you're going to give away. And happiness is an inside job.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Gina. And Cece, what have you found in life that you can share with us?
It's okay to be joyful, and authentically, and express your creative soul being. And what I'm feeling the last couple of days, something that Melissa said and something I've heard on the radio today, just, we're all that drop in the ocean. We're all being, we're all like, if we were all to be kind to everything as a being, because we're all on this one dot.
Yeah.
If we would just, but reality is that there's all this different, so life balance, find your joy. And that would be, that we're all creative being, souls being.
Yeah, I love when I hear people say we're all more alike than we are different. And so many times we focus on what we have that aren't the same, and it causes friction. And we could go down a whole rabbit hole of what's going on in the world, but we all know what we're in. And the kindness, like that Emily said, and Carol talks about, all of the things, it's so, so important. And we're, like you said, we're dropping it and we're rippling. And this movement of women, and we're coming together, this is what it's about right here. And to just everyone get on board. It's all good. So Marsh, what are you thinking about all of this? I know you and I spoke in the first rotation, but how are you feeling now? And what else do you want to say about what you found?
As everyone was speaking, I was reminded that one of the most powerful tools we have for creating our life or expressing ourselves is the use of our word. And many times we get caught in gossip, we get caught in negativity, we get caught in comparison, we get caught in self-doubt, we get caught in an inner dialogue that brings us down. I think it's very, very, very important, underscored and in probably a lime green highlighter, that what the words that we use to define ourselves and to define the life that we're choosing to live, it all begins in the words that we communicate. So to me, communication, and it's like, I loved it because even the magic of inspiration by every woman communicating her truth opened up some of the women to say, I had something else planned to say, but I feel inspired now. And that's because we were sitting in the word of inspiration. And that did its magic. So I believe that one of the things that we oftentimes forget, and it's the most important thing to remember, is that communication is a very powerful tool, and it begins with the words that we choose. Even if, many times, the clients that I coach, or even just when I'm speaking, I will speak something and I will stop and say, there's a better way of me saying that. Hold on a second. Or that's not truly what I wish to say. Let me say it again. And even if we have to stop ourselves and course correct what we've communicated and say what we're truly feeling, it's so important for us to remember that. And especially as we step into this new era of feminine prosperity. It's not about being fake and phony and saying things we don't mean. It's about making certain we're aligned with what we truly wish to invest our words in and what we truly wish to communicate. When we do that, we become amazingly powerful creators.
It's so true. And I am finding this to be an amazing journey that I'm learning so much about myself even more now. And then being around, like you said, the inspiration that you get from like-minded women, and I want to be that woman. I want to be that woman for everyone that I meet that can help inspire them to really be who they are and love it.
You know what I found, Debbie, is there really is no finish line here. There's not like, okay, now I'm there. Oh, okay, now I'm there. Okay, now I'm there. It's really about every single moment. How can I elevate and expand or even amplify the truth of who I know myself to be? How can I stretch myself in ways that I've never allowed myself to stretch before, but yet my soul's calling me to go there, or my spirit's calling me to go there? How can I say something new using a different line of words than I've ever chosen before. How can I love, somebody said curiosity. I love the idea of curiosity, because curiosity could even be, how can I say this differently? How can I take action differently? I once heard a spiritual teacher, a good friend of mine, say that if you put your pants on with your left leg first, start putting it with your right leg first. Or if you eat with your right hand, start eating with your left hand. And what he's really saying, I believe, for me, from my perspective, is that he's saying, shake things up. Be willing to try something new in a brand new way. You know, I was not a published author. This is a whole other interview. But I was not a published author when I started. I was not a public speaker. As a matter of fact, I had very little voice when I first started. And somehow I found my way to what brings me the greatest passion, and that's inspiring through the use of my words. So that would be my very long description for a question that you were probably asking for 2 or 3 words around it. That's how I'm feeling. That's
but we need it. You know, it's good to hear it. I love to hear it. And we do have 5 minutes, about 4 minutes left. When we go back to feminine prosperity and what you think about what that means to you, Carol, do you have anything else you can say about that very quickly? And I'm going to try to give everyone an opportunity to just expand on that a little bit.
In my experience, confidence and the maturing confidence, we're always, as Marcia said, we're always evolving.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's a maturity, maybe not in years, but in life, and just, I guess, mature confidence.
I like that. I love that. Lynn?
I just want to say that if we could let go of the illusion of body image and the illusions that are just permeating the entire world and go back to the truth, and the truth is inside of each and every one of us, we can start honoring that and start, like everyone has said, love yourself, love your body. We are such powerful creators that when we say, I'm not enough, we create not being enough.
Good job, Lynn. Thank you. Melissa?
I would just echo everything that Marsh said, and Lynn, that you just mentioned as well, is just that self-talk. And yeah, it's super powerful.
Right. Have you found, Melissa, that in your life you have talked down to yourself and you've made that flip to not do that any longer?
I definitely notice when I am able to intentionally focus on positive narratives, I start to notice the energy shift in my life. And when I get stuck or kind of like get into those old habits, that's when I feel a lot of that friction. So it's just that conscious awareness of gearing out of the habitual into the more intentional, and obviously not perfect at it, but yeah, I definitely notice a difference when I'm in those 2 different mindsets. So yeah.
Thank you for that, valuable, vulnerable information. I appreciate that, Melissa. Diane?
That fits for me too, of communication and speaking. If we listen to what we say to our own self, for God's sakes, that is so powerful, because we speak to ourselves like we would never say things like that to somebody we care about. And I go, I've started saying thank you for sharing. Bye. Thank you for sharing.
That's good.
Not true.
Exit stage left. I love that, Diane. Thank you. Emily?
Following all that, I want to say, letting go of limiting beliefs that we hold about ourselves that we think are true, that are not. It's kind of like what everyone has been saying, Diane, like what you were just saying as well, about hearing a voice that says something that's not true. And I say that too. Thank you for caring enough to share that with me, and letting it go, and just recognizing that the false voices are not who we really are. Who we are is so much more bigger and more magnificent than that. And we can change our own attitude about ourselves and about everything. And that's a real empowering force multiplier.
Yes,
that's
I
awesome.
love
Thank
that.
you,
I love
Emily.
force multiplier, by the way.
Oh, I do too. Okay, Gina.
Yeah, I mean, I just want, the thing is that we're all a collective consciousness. And so whenever we're doing something, the self-limiting beliefs, the negative self-talk, self-sabotage, it's almost like we're doing it to the collective. And I think if we remember that, if we remember that every time we go within and get to know ourselves, find out who we truly are, not just as a woman, but as a soul, as a spirit, as somebody who chose to come have this physical experience, and that we're all one, and that everything that we do, whether it be positive or negative, it affects each other, and that we're just one huge sisterhood. So not only is it our divinity to love ourselves, heal ourselves, and live the best magical life we could ever live, it's the collective's divinity. So the more that we do to ourselves the right things, the more that we're sending the messages out. The ripple effect is the message I mentioned before. And, a lot of that has to do with letting go of those limiting beliefs, like Emily said, and really figuring out what your belief system is. I had to do that myself. We're all taught what to believe by other people who were taught what to believe. So we have to really go deep inside, remember our strengths, and know that it's all for the collective good as well as for our own internal good.
Oh, thank you, Gina, for that. And Cece, to wrap it up, let's give it to us.
Yeah, I will. It's okay to get messy and, get off your hands and get out there, get out of your own way and begin again. I'm all about hashtag begin again. And it's okay to let go of your perfectionism because it's being on the fence. And that's something I did for a long time too. So if you're out there and you're just wanting to do something, it's about finding the first step. And that might be just creating some space in a journal and then follow suit to clear out space on a table to start drawing or writing or doodling and calm yourself down, your nerves, and get out there. It's okay to get messy. It's okay to make mistakes.
Yes. Oh, I love it. That's the truth. That is the truth. Okay. So with that, I want Marsh to stay on the screen and she's going to wrap up some things for us. In the meantime, Lynn, thank you so much. If you just bring the other authors down backstage, and then Marsh and I will just have a quick little wrap up, but I'm so thrilled to be part of all of this, and I'm blessed and I'm grateful. And I know how I'm feeling. And like I said, you have to feel like you gave birth. I mean, for real. So what do you want to end this podcast with? What would you like for people to know about the book or about you or just whatever?
Well, I think the first thing that came to mind is I think it would be so very powerful if everyone with us today would reflect on the fact that we heard from, 12 or 15 individual women, and every single woman had a different perspective to share. But yet we were speaking about we had the same questions for everyone. So many times we get caught in thinking, am I saying it right or am I doing it right? Or we follow somebody else's path. I think it was Joseph Campbell that said, I don't know, I'm going to mess up the quote, so I'm not even going to go there. But I think that it's very important to remember that there is no path that's the right path. The right path is your path. So it's really about getting very comfortable in being the change maker or being the trailblazer or being the pioneer or being, a lot of my clients lately, went through this period of time where everybody was calling saying, I feel like I'm a black sheep in the family. And I said, congratulations. Being the black sheep means you're trailblazing a new way of being. You may be healing a lineage by you being the trailblazer, willing to take the chances and willing to change things up and willing to do it a different way and follow those rhythms. I have many stories that are bubbling up that I could tell, but the bottom line is, Debbie, is that every single woman here reflected her heart And the wisdom of her heart came through different communication, different language, different perspectives, different points of view, but it all led us to the same thing. And that is our feminine prosperity, our divine legacy. And each of them are living their own. So I love it. I don't often like to use the word proud because it sounds like I have ownership over it, and I don't mean that, but I'm proud for them. I'm proud for me. I'm proud for you. I'm proud for every woman that finds it within her heart to stay true to her passions, to stay true. So if there were anything I'd leave the our wonderful people that are tuned in with us today, it would be to just be that trailblazer, be that pioneer, be willing to take those chances, surprise yourself. One of the speakers said, get curious about what possibilities and what potentials you've yet to experience or yet to allow yourself to express, and let that be your new era. The new era is not something that somebody else is doing for us. The new era is what we are creating it to be. And it's each individually, uniquely, powerfully, in our potency and in our radiance, expressing in the world. And that it's like, I want to jump up and go do something great. That's what I always, it's like just the words alone and sitting with these amazing women, hearing their voices communicated, it inspires me.
It does make you feel like it's a good contagious. Like, I just feel like I could I'm going to have to probably take a couple jogs around the room, that kind of like, oh, I'm so excited. So I feel the same way, but I don't want to be the last one to talk. I want you to just leave with you always have so many empowering things that pop into your head that you like to share, just like you recognizing that we all had. Yes, do it.
Okay. So this was a last, I don't want to say last minute, but this was the final thing I wrote for the book. And I called the publisher and said, is there any way we can include it in the book? Because it's powerful.
Yeah.
As a sacred agreement, we could say, with ourselves.
Yep.
I embrace my divine legacy is what I titled this. Today, I ignite the radiant wealth of feminine prosperity. It's from this place I set free sacred confidence and amplify my infinite potentials. It's from this place I embrace my divine legacy, bringing to the world the richness of my wisdom, the aliveness of my passions, and the voice of my soul. So to me, this says that this is our divine legacy, and we can all write that story ourselves. And in doing so, we're writing it and reflecting it in a way that other women can find that confidence within themselves as well. And that, to me, is what it is when we link arms and we rise together.
Thank you. My heart is full. And thank you all who could watch live and who is watching it on replay. Thank you. There's a lot of power here. There's so much power. Get empowered, get inspired, get the book, and then we're going to talk about it. We'll have Marsh on again. So thank you all, and I will see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. at our regular time. And with that, y'all, have a great evening.
Thank you, Debbie.
That floats around me, keeping me safe and sound.